Are you ready for a prophetic adventure? Are you ready for extreme faith combined with extreme sport? This is Prayer Walk, where we follow a courageous woman that has set out to walk all across the borders of Norway to pray for the land. And yes, the nature and the weather in Norway is not tamed, so this is going to be a real challenge. And if you want to follow that journey, then I will be reporting on the real struggles, the tears, the challenges, the joys, the blessings and breakthroughs every Sunday. So stay tuned. It is November the 12th and we are getting so much closer to winter. And Janne Christine, our prayer walker, she's in the middle of a restructuring period. I haven't been having my shows the last two, weeks, and that is because of illness. And Janne Christine has also been kind of like into the mode of illness and weakness because there's been so much confusion and chaos, and everything has been turned upside down inside of her mind, and doubt has been present. If you have followed before, you know that Janne Christine, she has set out to walk all around the borders of Norway, but first she has been focusing on the heart of Norway, the mountainous area around Dovre, which is called, and you kind of like to establish the throne of God to really get an anchoring point that is a solid, stable center and core. And in that process, there's been experiences and great things, but she has been living on the East Coast way further down south. And she's been longing and yearning to be up in that mountainous area all the time. And I can tell you that's not a place where normal people want to stay. There's hardly any population there. But that's her deep, deep, deep desire, which kind of like tells me that this comes from God. It wouldn't be me. Definitely wouldn't be me. But she has had that kind of yearning, waking up in the morning like, oh, I gotta be up there. Desperate, frustrated, being in the wrong place. And so one day she just decided, okay, I'm not gonna stay here any longer. I'm gonna sign off my deal for this house, and I don't know where I'm going, God, but when I do that, I trust that you will find something. And kind of like when I do this, you have to find something. So she was jumping, kind of like jumping out of a cliff, like she didn't know where she would stay. She had troubles with her income and the car, and didn't know what part of the country to stay, or if it was up in this mountain, where would she find a suitable place? And everything was a little bit in a restructuring, uncertain mode. But she took a step in faith and jumped. And when we do that, most often we end up in a position where we feel like that was a bad decision. At first, we have the faith, we do the act, and then comes reality. It's kind of like, oh boy, what did I do? When you act in the Spirit, you act based on things you don't see. You act in faith, and it is going against the rational mind and the reality around you. So when that presence disappears and reality kind of like in a very clear and annoying way makes its presence known, we enter into this stage where we wonder, what on earth did I do? Oh boy, God help me. And that is a position that God loves. It is so uncomfortable. It is doubt and fear land, and God loves it because it is in those kind of situations that He can show off. I mean, we can never come to the position of seeing God sorting our problems and doing miracles and lifting us up from the mud if we are not in the mud and in a unfortunate and hopeless situation in the first place. If everything is taken care of, everything is okay, and God does it even better, then nobody's going to notice. So think of Moses. He was facing the most horrible challenges. And if I was in those challenges and facing those kind of obstacles, I would be crying like, God, where did you go? Why did you leave me? Like totally failure mode. But it is only if you're willing to stand in those kind of situations and still believe, not run away and run back to mom. Not that it's bad to run back to mom, but it's an expression. It's about giving up and losing faith. But Moses didn't do that. He kept standing. And by doing that, he was allowed to see God move and a God-given outcome. And so by having uncertainty and chaos in our lives, you can see that is the platform, that is, setting the stage for God to move. And we should be grateful for these kind of situations, even though it challenges our faith and it is confusion and, a state of doubt. And, well, it's not comfortable, okay? It's not that many people that really think of this as comfortable. But the more you challenge yourself and the more you jump and get to see that God is responding, the more it can turn into something that is adventurous and exciting. You get that kind of adrenaline kick, like you're jumping off a cliff and you don't know what's going to happen. And God is the only one you are leaning on. And so Janne Christine, she did that, and, well, some weeks later, things have indeed happened. She has got herself an RV, so she is mobile and can basically stay all around the country if she wants to. In addition to that, she has found a way to get a new car. It's not a new car, but it's newer than the one she had, and it's better suited for the mountainous areas and the snow and all the challenges she will be facing. And then in addition to that, bit by bit, she's been led through people, through, just associations and things that's come her way. She's been led into an area that is very close to the mountainous area she's started walking in. And it is like a resort center for believers. There's a chapel, like a prayer room, and there's fellowship, and she's getting a small house for a very, very reasonable amount. And it's just perfect. And she didn't expect much. I mean, she was willing to just live in, almost a tent. But we've been spoken about that. You really gotta have some place to rest, to have a shower, to charge your batteries and your cell phone as well, and wash your clothes. I mean, life is gonna be so hard that, you can't stand doing this for a long time if you're not in a position where you can actually take care of yourself as well and be effective. So she got that. I mean, she's so eager that she didn't really consider her own needs, but by the common sense, she kind of agreed, and now God has put things in place so that it seems to all be taken care of. And she even went to a local company in the area and asked, well, do you think you perhaps would need some help? Because she needs to do some type of work as well. Part of the time she needs to be working. And the company said, oh yeah, we do. Which is, it's amazing. Everything within a few weeks, suddenly it's there. But it was a period of chaos and doubt and fear and frustration before it was visible. But it was there all the time. It was just not visible. God had a plan. He had prepared it. But she couldn't see it And that's how it is with us as well. We have things that we are waiting for, but sometimes we don't get to see them until we take a step in faith and say, okay, God, I trust you. I believe that you have called me to this, and I can't see it yet, but I'm going to take a step. And I do it for you, and I hope to do it with you. And if it works out well, then I'll praise you. And if not, then, well, that's the risk I'll have to take. And perhaps, you'll just direct me in a different direction if that's what you wanted. So I'm stepping. And it is amazing to see, when you get to experience that, yes, God responds. And so I also want to share a little bit about mountains, because when we have this, project of prayer walk, because it is in Norway, it is such a focus on mountains. And mountains is what Janne Christine is focusing on now, at the moment. And mountains in the Bible, it has two different meanings. Mountain is, it can be a symbol of our obstacles, our problems. And it is fear that, can be in there. And there's doubt, and there's all the addictions, or, anything that is blocking our way. But then again, it is the opposite. It is faith that can move the mountain. And that is something that we can use when we actually climb a mountain. It cannot be just, it cannot do. I'm messing a little bit here, but what I'm trying to say is that we want to step on top of our mountains. We want to step on top of our challenges. We want to overcome them. We want to put our enemies under our feet, make them our footstool. And our addictions, our fears and problems and challenges and obstacles, everything, we want to put it under our feet so that it is defeated, and so that God is residing inside of us and is in charge, and He is in control over these things in our lives. And we can pray about that, and we can think about that, but we can take it even one step further. And that is what Janne Christine is doing. And now I'm bringing it into a different level, because perhaps where you live, perhaps there's no big high mountains, but perhaps there's a small mountain or a decent hill. And if you have a problem that is either personal, like an addiction or fear or whatever it is, or perhaps there's something about the area you live in that you really, really feel like you have to do something about, then you can be in a dialogue with God and just say, okay, this mountain or this hill, that's going to be a symbol of this addiction or this fear or this social, societal problem. And I'm going to climb that mountain. And for every step that I take, I'm going to be in prayer, and I'm going to be walking in faith, and I'm going to be walking in my spirit with you. And I'm going to say, you, God, you take control over this. I am putting it under my feet. And by doing that, I am giving you control over this. So by walking it out and actually get on top of that mountain, that will be a powerful manifestation or symbol of doing it in the spiritual, of doing it in the mental and emotional and on all levels. And when we do things, when we take it into the physical, not only do we experience it more vividly and remember it more clearly, and it's done. It's kind of like a satisfaction inside of us that, yeah, I did it. There's no doubt you did it. But also, when we take it out and do it in the physical, we activate all levels of our being. And I'm talking about our body conscious, our subconscious, our conscious mind, there's so many levels to a human being and our brains and our systems that we don't even know all of them. But when we put our heart and our mind and our emotions and our physical body and, all of us into a task and do it in the physical, then we activate and engage all of these levels in such a much more, it becomes so much more real, and every part is a part of it. So I don't have the answers, but I know that there's something about this. The presence and the awareness that the involvement becomes so much bigger, and it makes a difference. So that is one thing that you can do in your area. You can speak to the mountains, but you can also walk on top of them, climb on top of them, and put whatever you make them be a symbol of under your feet. And then we come to this other part of what a mountain can mean. Because when you get up on top of that mountain or hill, then that is a symbol of a place where we can meet God. And we see that in the Old Testament. Moses, he went on top of the mountain to meet God. And it is as if we are climbing in our own consciousness and in the spheres, getting closer to that heavenly realm, and his presence is a higher way. And it is up there on the mountain where not so many go, and not so many perhaps want to go, because it's hard, it takes an effort. But it is still up there that you can experience a higher degree or a higher measure of God. So that's another symbolic part of this mountain thing, and it ties in with the other. By reaching up to God, by taking the steps needed, going through the effort and sacrificing. I mean, you could be at home watching a movie, eating popcorn, but instead you chose to walk up that mountain to find God. And when you do that, you are putting the world and the problems and the obstacles of the world under your feet. So that is, remarkable, and it's so simple, but it's so beautiful and remarkable at the same time, how God has created everything in this world in such a way that it speaks of Him, and it speaks of our path back to Him. And we can use these living metaphors around us to enhance that journey and to help the process. And that is part of what Janne Christine is doing. When she is out walking, when she is climbing mountains, then she has in her heart a set desire, for God to take over in this nation. And so when she is climbing that mountain, that is her focus, that is her dialogue with God, saying, I want you to meet me here, and I want you to see that we, the people of Norway, we want to put the world under our feet. We want to forget about all these other things. It doesn't matter. We want you. And so she's doing this on behalf of a lot of other people, because that's what she can't sleep, she can't do anything else. She is called to this by just having it inside of her. She can't deny it. And then bit by bit, people around her and around in the country gets involved, and their fire is added to her fire, and there's so many people that love this country and want to do so many good things for it. And now we are in the process of connecting those souls and bringing those fires together, because when united and gathered, we are strengthened and God multiplies. So that is what is going on, and I really like it. I will continue to report on this, and next time I do believe that Janne Christine has moved up in the mountainous area, I'm not 100% sure because she still has 2 weeks until she has to leave the place she's in, but definitely I expect that when she moves up there, God is going to reveal more about, okay, what are the next steps in this journey? In the beginning, I thought perhaps, it's going to be quick. She's just going to put a tent peg on top of this mountain and then she's going to walk around the borders. But right now, it actually seems as if God really wants, the earth and the soil to be plowed in the area. And, there's something more to be done for the seed to really be anchored. And perhaps it will take some time focusing in on that area. And, well, He's the boss. Whatever He wants, well, that is what we are going to try to do. So that's what I had time for this time, and I will be back next Sunday at 19 o'clock in Central Europe. But that is a different time zone than in America, of course. So the time that I will be back is 10 a.m. US Pacific time on Sunday, and that means 1 p.m. in Florida. And before that, I will be back on Saturday with Spirit Talk, same hours. And in Spirit Talk, at the moment, I am focusing on how to hear God. And it's not the fluffy kind of like, I'm not following the soul and you're going to hear everything you want to hear. It's tools to be able to hear more from God, but also realize, the dangers of trying to hear more than He says, or, make it into something He didn't really say. So putting that on the agenda, it is a pet topic. I love that kind of topic. It's important. And then I want to give thanks to Kevin MacLeod. He is the one making the music I'm playing. It's free licensed music and it comes from incompetech.com. And I also want to give thanks to George, who's the one receiving the files when I'm done. He's helping me with editing them. And so together we are doing this, and it's a journey. We are walking with God. And until next time, I wish you all the best in your walk with God. God loves you, and He wants you to trust Him. And perhaps, until next time, you'll take a step in faith and do something you didn't believe you had faith to do. Who knows what God has around the corner? Be blessed.